Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Legacy Speaks. This year I'm challenging myself to become more engaged in the mental health community by seeking and also attending local events. This includes conferences, workshops, CEUs, and open dialogues. Anything that will help me grow as a mental health professional and connect with others. The cool thing is that whatever information I gain, I'm bringing it straight to you guys because really, what's the point of keeping it all to myself, right? So whether you're in St. Louis, Missouri or Biloxi, Mississippi, you have access to an array of resources and insight for mental health and wellness. But the only way you'll be able to catch it as soon as it drops is by hitting that subscription button below. That way you can stay up to date on newly released content on a regular basis. So let's dive right in. I had the pleasure of attending a chat and shoot at Greater Turner Chapel AME Church in Atlanta, which was hosted by Reverend Toni Ingram. The theme of the event was called Caring for Ourselves, and it highlighted the importance of addressing the topic of mental health within the Black communities and what role the church can play in these endeavors. First off, I commend Reverend Toni for even having the mind and the heart to put on such an amazing event because this is something that I am extremely passionate about. Honestly, my goal is to empower all of you guys to use this information to help others. Granted, all of my viewers might not be within the mental health field or even attended college, but that doesn't matter. You don't need a degree to know the basics of helping your fellow neighbor. And whatever your profession is or may be, your skills and emotional intelligence lay down the foundation for catering to the well-being of others. That's why I always stress things like paying attention to the signs and symptoms or even sharing links in various articles so that we can collaboratively help in one way or another. I'm really trying to create a global grassroots mission, and it's events like these that really get me excited. For those of you who don't know, I'm Black. And my experiences as a person of color who comes from a middle-class family in America have sparked the desire to highlight these disparities within my communities. This isn't to say that I'm just like completely forget everybody else and I'm solely choosing to focus on Black communities only. No, my mission is to help people regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, socioeconomic status, sexuality, etc. I'm just letting it be known that I know what living from paycheck to paycheck and being consumed by the constant rat race of life can do to a person. I know what systemic gender and racial inequality can do to a person. I know what living in a community where its people don't have access to quality resources and education systems can do to a person. And all of that impacts one's mental health, which then further impacts a person's functionality. But let me get back on topic because I can definitely get carried away with this, but I'll save that for another video. My goodness, Sierra, can we please stay focused? Goodness gracious. But yeah, that's basically what this open dialogue was all about. It provided a safe space for all of those helping professionals to talk about ways we can impact the Black community by breaking stigmas and stereotypes regarding mental health. And throughout the video, you'll hear me interchange between mental health professionals and helping professionals because this event had a very diverse audience. I'm talking pastors and ministry leaders, Masters of Divinity students, mental health professionals, psych students, educators, and so on. And it was really interesting because some of the stuff that was brought up was already addressed by one of my very first videos I did for this channel, so I thought that was pretty dope. Be sure to check it out if you already haven't. All of the speakers were absolutely insightful. I was up there with my notebook and pen going hard in the paint. The first speaker, Dr. Percy Johnson, opened up by emphasizing the concept of community. We already know the social influence of discriminatory laws that perpetuated segregation. Everything we needed could already be found within our community, and there was an unspoken expectation for everyone to have each other's back. Realistically speaking, being systematically oppressed is what kept Black communities together. There was an elevated sense of responsibility and care for one another that you really don't see in today's era. So how does this all relate to mental health, you ask? Well, it's simple. The key to meeting the needs of marginalized communities is through care. Caring for one another's well-being, and I mean truly being vested in our communities, creates a call to action which is answered through advocacy. And advocacy is a large component of being a helping professional. One thing that I really loved about Dr. Johnson's segment is how he likened mental health professionals to midwives. This is where I was literally sitting on the edge of my seat, y'all, because this was a word, okay? But this is a traditional AME church, you know, with the wooden chair wood benches where you gotta be careful with the way that you sit on the edge because, you know, that wood gets to hurt in your butt, you know? Child, y'all be thinking people getting up in the spirit. No, they jumping up because their tailbone hurts, okay? Just kidding, okay? Reverend Toni, if you're watching this, I kid. But y'all know what I'm talking about. But yes, midwives help the expecting mother usher in change. After months of planning and preparation with this pregnant individual, there will come a day where the midwife will help this scared yet excited woman give birth to a beautiful baby ready for the world. And that's what mental health professionals do. I come across so many clients and patients who have hopes of overcoming past traumas, have dreams of living a life where they are able to master their emotions, and have the desire of achieving all the things that they were told that they would never become. And like the midwife, we help people shift their narratives. We help them make sense of all of their experiences while helping them find their voice in circumstances where they just seem hopeless. There are so many culturally specific issues that people of color face, specifically those of African descent. According to the Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health, African Americans are 20% more likely to experience serious mental health problems than the general population. As a people in the United States of America, we are highly susceptible to complex traumas, PTSD, generalized anxiety, and major depressive disorder. This is largely in part to increased rates of exposure to violence, racism, as well as the tendency to live in a double consciousness, also known as the identity duality. I don't know any other race that isn't given the full freedom to be themselves in various aspects of their lives. Why do you think when two black people see each other in a predominantly white environment, they always hit that quick head nod? It's acknowledgement of, hey, my brother or sister, I see you. I'm aware of your presence and I appreciate you for being here, because at least I know that I probably got one person in this place that just may understand where I'm coming from culturally. It's the establishing of community. And there's so many benefits to the concept of community. It provides an opportunity for people to be vulnerable instead of trying to keep it all together behind a fragile mask. There is a lot of guilt, shame, and negative perceptions of self caused by years of trauma, abuse, neglect, and unaddressed experiences, not just within our families, but on a societal level as well. And nobody wants to seek help because of our cultural misconceptions regarding obtaining help. My melanated brothers and sisters, we are hella strong, but we can be some of the most prideful people ever. Get help and you're deemed weak and incapable of holding it together. Express that you're on the verge of a mental breakdown and you're just seen as not having enough faith or not praying hard enough. And we need to stop this, because that's not what community is all about. It's about being there in a non-judgmental manner and recognizing that if one is hurting, then we are all hurting. It's about helping others before they fall off to the wayside and become invisible. And that sometimes calls for us to be confrontational in a loving manner. Hey sis, you don't seem like yourself. If you need a listening ear, let me know and I got you. Or what's good, bro? You've been a little bit standoffish lately. Let's go play some ball to help get your mind off a few things. That's all it takes, chipping away at the tendency to isolate by remaining connected and supportive of one another. Obviously, with the change in times and the increased use of social media, we're going to have to redefine the concept of community within today's culture. And that's something that Dr. Johnson spoke on. Nonetheless, if we're really talking about caring for ourselves, we have to work on our social interests and what role we play as pieces to a larger puzzle. If we really want to bring life back into our communities, we as a people need to learn how to breathe life into each other. So I challenge all of us, no matter what our profession is, to continue to educate ourselves on issues regarding mental health within the Black communities so that we can begin to advocate for one another. There was another speaker that I gained a lot from during the event, but I don't want to overload you guys with such great and amazing content. So take this, consume it, take your time and chew on it a little bit, and be on the lookout for part 2. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Legacy Speaks. I hope this was insightful and thought-provoking. Let's keep the conversation going. How can we reestablish and redefine the concept of community within marginalized areas? What are some old school concepts that we need to start putting back into practice to help today's generation? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and stay connected via Legacy SVKS on everything. Until next time. Ooh, that sounded good. Ooh, that sounded good.